Make yourself comfortable. Welcome to the
I am
podcast, Wolfgang
comfortable.
Puck.
I'm in my home, my office, so I'm good. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well,
Yeah.
hey, listen, Wolfgang Puck. I mean, wow. Thank you for joining us and taking a couple minutes. And you're on with Whitney Reynolds from the Whitney Reynolds Show.
I mean,
I'm Brady. I do afternoons here at Kiss FM in Chicago, amongst other stations throughout the country. And this is the Pop and Positivity Podcast. And I'm honored, and we're blessed to have you because I think this is the first GOAT we've ever had. We have a GOAT on with us right now. The greatest of all time is on our Zoom box. So welcome.
thank you, thank you. Great to be with you.
And I want to start there real quick. Who would Wolfgang Puck put in his like your Mount Rushmore of celebrity chefs, like the biggest of the big? Like you have four names. Who would you put on there?
Well, the first one really for me would be Raymond Tullier at Beaumanière. When I was a kid, I didn't even know if I'm gonna stay in the kitchen. I left my home when I was 14, and then I did my apprenticeship in Austria. At 17, I moved to France. The first stop was in Dijon. The second stop, I found out there were 3-star restaurants. So I moved to Provence, to Le Beau. There's a restaurant there called Beaumanière. And there, Mr. Tullier, in a way, took me under his wing. Maybe he took a liking to me. Was the first one, really, because my stepfather told me I'm good for nothing. The first chef told me I'm good for nothing. He fired me after 2 months. So him, I don't know what he saw in me, but somehow it changed my life. So to me, he is like responsible partially, where I am today. I really believe so. I believe in it so much that unfortunately he passed away years ago now, but I even sent my son Byron there now to cook there. So Byron is working at Beaumanière now because I really thought maybe it will inspire him too. So here was a guy when I was there, 72 years old, so passionate. I mean, it was amazing. He used to go in and out of the restaurant, and if something wasn't right, he was feisty like crazy. And I remember he was running for mayor. He used to go from door to door to tell people what he's going to do for the village. He became the mayor. He was a painter. I mean, he was a Renaissance man, really. But his passion for quality, his passion for hospitality, really, I think he put it inside of me and it changed my life.
Oh, I love that. Well, you touched on a couple of really key things. And, this is the pop and positivity, and your positivity of how he impacted your life is huge. So tell me, have you taken that same quality and mentored younger kids as well? Have you passed on the torch of that?
All right. I should bring in here. Find me Ari, please. Ari. I have one young guy. He's going to tell you the story. He's here actually in the office. He runs a part of our restaurants, all of our restaurants in Los Angeles. And he is with me now for, I think, 30 years. Okay, come over here. Sit next to me here.
Welcome to the show.
This is a very famous Kiss radio station in Chicago. So
hey,
now,
everybody.
this is Ari. So move a little farther in here. He has a better haircut than me, but he's way younger, more handsome, everything.
You can't tell them.
But you can tell. But I think it is great to see, like one generation. When I look for Mr. Tullier, now look at myself, and here is the next generation. And you tell them a little bit your story. You have a few minutes, okay?
Okay. I had to do a report on somebody in 5th grade, and there was an article in the LA Times on Wolfgang saying that he couldn't call his pizza pizza because it didn't have tomato sauce on it. So I was like, I got to meet this guy. Cut to, I went to Spago, interviewed chef. I told him at the end of the interview, I love cooking. He's like, you come with me. And showed me how to make a pizza, gave me a tour, is very gracious. Over the years, I kind of went to a different fancy restaurant for my birthday dinner. I was 14, I think, at the time. I went to Granita, one of our restaurants that was in Malibu. Chef happened to be there, and I said, I love cooking. Do you remember me? He's like, of course I remember you. You just call me when you want a job, and you become the chef of one of my restaurants. I said, okay, whatever. And then I turned 2 years later. It was turned 16, and I had a car I could drive, and I still like cooking. I sent him a picture of myself and him together to kind of jog the memory, and said basically, "You promised me a job, going to have one." And the next day, he called me up, and I started as a prep cook at Spago, West Hollywood at 16.
At 16, that is incredible. And the irony, because the story that Wolfgang was telling us earlier, he was 14 when he got into this. So the passion between the two of you, I mean, we should rename the podcast, the Passion and Positivity Podcast.
Passion. Good slogan. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing. I love that.
So Ari is with us now. He became the chef of one restaurant, and now he's running the kitchens in a few restaurants here in Los Angeles, and whenever we need help overseas, anywhere he'll go. So,
Wolfgang, how many restaurants do you have in the world?
We have 27 restaurants, like Spago, Cut, and then we have some Asian concepts. And then my brother Klaus, actually, who was in Chicago at Spago in Chicago in the old time on Dearborn and Grand, he runs all of our airports. We have one in Chicago at the airport too. So he's doing that. So it's a family business. And I always tell people, Ari is like my other son. I forgot who the mother was.
I have a serious question. So I am not a chef, and I am getting better at making soups. But what is the one thing that you would recommend for someone that is really horrible in the kitchen? Like, what is the one trick that you just is it add salt to everything? I don't know. What would you tell me?
Well, I think for example, now it's winter time, butternut squash is in season, really. So you can make a great butternut squash soup, but it's so simple. If you saute some onions, chop some onions, maybe some carrots, and then split the butternut squash in half, lengthwise, take out the seeds, put a little honey, maybe a little salt and pepper on top, and roast them in the oven with a little olive oil. Natural, put them in a pan. And then while you saute the onions, this will be cooking. Get some vegetable broth or chicken broth, put that in. And don't forget spices. I always put a little ginger. I always put a little bit of cinnamon, maybe a little nutmeg, whatever you like, a little allspice, but you want to have some good flavor. So you add that to the soup, let it cook, scoop out all the soft butternut squash and put it with the onions and the stock, and then puree it, and you're going to have a great soup. And don't forget to taste before if it has enough salt, okay?
Brady, we got to make this together. We will rewatch this. I will
all right.
slow
We should do it. Next time we do a Zoom cooking class, okay?
We just were given instructions by Wolfgang Puck to make something. I think it needs to happen. I'm smelling a Friendsgiving recipe or something.
Yeah.
Wow, a bad idea to have this podcast at lunchtime because, man, you make me hungry. We got to talk, but both of you guys can answer this. Chicago is known for its food. It's known for its culinary and its restaurants and everything. But what is your guys' take on the hot topic of deep dish pizza?
Ooh.
Forget it. Let's not talk about it. When we came to Chicago, I remember we had a food critic there, and I went with another chef from Chicago to Numero Uno, or whatever they do, deep dish pizzas. And I said, this is like a mess. This doesn't look like a pizza. But you know what? People got used to it, and people love it in Chicago, So I think it's not my taste. Let's say it, do it politely.
Yeah, that's funny. It's really not ours either because it's more of a touristy thing. We like the thinner style. So
yeah.
Well, tell me this: with COVID and everything that's happened in the last 2 years, how did that shape your industry and what you were doing?
Well, we had to adapt in a lot of different ways. We did takeout at Spago and in many other restaurants at Chinois for a while we were closed. And I know Ari was the king of the fried chicken. The most popular thing at Spago was our fried chicken on Wednesday night.
Wow.
On Wednesday,
it's been so long.
Yeah. And I think it was amazing. We had a line 2 or 3 blocks with the cars coming to pick up chicken. We had the whole stove was full of things. How many chicken did you make? Like
It was like 500 chicken dinners in one night. We limited it.
Yeah.
We could have done more.
Yeah.
we had people make reservation for next week. We have people like, people like a friend of mine, Irwin Winkler, who made the Rocky movies and the Right Stuff and everything, a big producer, director. He used to call me panicking and says, I want some fried chicken. I said, sorry, we only bought that many chickens, He said, can I have him next week? So people were all excited about him.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
for me at the end, it's putting things in boxes wasn't that exciting. After a while, it was good. It was fun for a while, seeing the line of cars coming up, picking up food. Everybody was happy. And we gave them also little bottles of our cocktails.
Oh,
Negronis, old fashioned, and a few other ones, we had them bottled up. I said, just put ice in a glass, maybe a little orange peel if you want to, pour it in and have a drink before eating. And people loved it.
do
It
you
was a
do
great-
any of
it was-
that today? Like, did you keep any of those things up? Are people still getting the fried chicken to go and the cocktail?
No.
No.
We are so busy now at the restaurant.
Too
so
busy.
It's really difficult to do. It's difficult to do both. You're not organized. We are not set up for that. We have a kitchen which is set up to feed the people in the restaurant.
No, it was a great substitution for the times, but man, there's nothing, and I know Whitney's the same way. We've gone out to dinner many a times. There's just nothing about the ambiance and the experience and the service part. And it's just, when it all comes together, it's just an amazing, amazing night. Now there's one celebrity that's been kind of in the news. We don't get into that negativity here. So I want to kind of flip that story. What kind of cool, because I feel like you fed so many people, young, old,
So
and famous.
what is the negative story? I want to hear about.
There's a thing going around about James Corden, about how he wasn't polite to some people in a restaurant in New York. But I want to know who's
I
been
don't think
cool.
so. I know him. He did actually one of the spoofs in our restaurant. It was funny, huh?
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
He was super kind to
Yeah.
everyone. So
It was very,
we
very.
didn't have that same experience with that individual.
Yeah, no, he ran out with the bread, or what was it, bread? Or
Pizza.
in the dining room and said, okay, I just made fresh bread. Take my bread. And he was walking around. Everybody was like, what is he doing here? I thought he was very nice and very accommodating and frankly taking pictures after with some of the guests. So, but, maybe somebody bugged him too much or his wife too much or whatever it is. Sometimes people, if you want to have a nice dinner, a quiet dinner, whatever, if they keep on relentlessly bugging you, can you take a picture? You take one and said, oh, can you take another one? Now my cousin is here, they want one. And all of a sudden you say, okay, enough is enough.
Yeah, I agree. But I want to know who has been coming into your restaurants over the years that is a celebrity that is just like the salt of the earth. They're just genuinely awesome people and they keep coming back that are regulars.
Oh, we have so many people. We are open for 40 years.
Wow.
I remember when, I talked yesterday with Gene Kelly's wife. Gene Kelly, the young people even don't know anymore who that is,
Yeah.
And it's amazing, and they were good customers. I love jazz. I had Oscar Peterson's wife also. They were both together, so we were talking about the old time. Now, naturally, now with the young people, we have people from I don't know, Tom Cruise or Rihanna, and all these people come to the restaurant.
Anthony Ramos yesterday.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
so some of them, the funny thing is, some of the new one, I have to ask Ari, who is that? He has to explain me what TV show they're on or what movies they are. I know all the old guys like Clint Eastwood and so forth, but they're getting up there. Or Michael Douglas, they were all young when we started out, and now they are, not as young anymore. But
I bet they're just
like me, but my inside is young.
I bet they're just as starstruck to see you. I mean, to have you on the podcast today and to hear you talk about your recipes really is amazing. Now, I was also doing a little research, and you're known for your philanthropic heart. You have so many charities connected with your name. Is there one that really stands out that you are just so passionate about, you have to tell everybody about?
Well, I think my mother passed away of Alzheimer's, and my friend Larry Rubo in Chicago, in Las Vegas, he also, his father had it. And so we started this Alzheimer Foundation probably 25, 26 years ago in Las Vegas. And now we have an amazing research and research center and diagnostic center in Las Vegas run by the Cleveland Clinic. So that's really amazing. And actually, we have a cafe there named after my mother, Maria.
Oh.
And we have another one that my wife, Galila, is working on in Ethiopia. My wife is from Ethiopia, and we have an orphanage there. It started, when my wife started it, it was like 24 kids, and now there are like almost 1,000 kids, like way over 800, maybe over 900 now in an orphanage. And we don't cook for them over there, but we provide the money. So we do fundraisers here and in other places to make the kids happier. And now we have a trade school there too, especially for women, where they learn how to make clothes, where they know what to do with cotton. They have a lot of cotton over there to weave and everything. So it's really an interesting thing. And then we have another home there for battered women, where...
Wow.
Where they are learning also a craft, because they don't know how to make a hotel room, how to be, cleaning the rooms, how to make a bed the right way, or how to make clothes, or how to do so many chores, or be an assistant, like a secretary, or whatever it is. So they learn it. And then they give them some money when they get good, and they can go and sell it. And they do really well. Like if they make clothes or they make their sandals and things like that, they sell it. They have like little street shops. And when they come back and sell it, they have to pay for the thing and then go out and sell more. And one lady, we were there, she started out buying a little house. She remodeled it and made like a little hotel with 3 bedrooms. And now she has 6 houses like that, where people can stay and pay for it. So it's amazing to see if you give people an opportunity. That's all we have to do. And that's really the big problem here in America. Like you go in LA with all the homeless and whatever, they have no opportunity. How are you going to get a job if you live in the street? You can clean yourself, you don't have clothes, you don't have nothing. And I think people are yearning for opportunities.
It's unbelievable. That is like quite the accomplishments outside of what you've been doing, serving people some delicious, tasty treats throughout the world. My last question is this for you, Chef. My wife and I recently got married in Napa Valley. We're going to go back there for our 1 year. Are there any Wolfgang Puck restaurants that are in the vicinity of Napa? And if so, how do I get a reservation?
Unfortunately, we don't have a restaurant in Napa Valley. We are close to doing one a while ago, but I saw there are so many good restaurants now up in the valley. Do you have an in with French Laundry? My follow-up question. Yeah, all right. I don't know. I think if you go to the French Laundry, it's a whole experience. It's going to take you 3.5 hours. And then as a newly married man, if you go home and fall asleep, your wife won't be happy.
Big problem.
I would go to a restaurant where you eat in an hour, have some great food, a great bottle of champagne, and do it.
Keeping marriages together.
Tell us at a restaurant. Ad hoc, yeah.
Well, last question.
Yeah. So go to a bistro, or what is nice too, is L'Auberge de Soleil. If it's a nice day, it's a hotel, but they have a terrace outside overlooking the whole valley. It's really beautiful for a drink. I didn't eat there in a long time, but I still remember sitting out on the terrace and looking down on the vineyards, because it's a little up on the hillside, up from the Silverado Trail. And that's really a great way to go and drink. But don't eat too much if you're newly married, because you're going to get tired.
Great advice.
And you got to keep that body too, Brady.
Whitney agrees. She knows what to do.
Okay, last question. We ask every guest on the podcast this. What do you want? And I know that this answer could go so many different directions because I wonder if it's going to be culinary or kind of your heart. But what do you want your legacy to be?
You know, if my legacy would be, if I think just of one thing, obviously, if my children would say I was a good father. Now, if my wife would lie a little bit and say he was a good husband too, but I don't know if it's true.
I love it. I love it.
I think that's really at the end. You know, I see so many people when they go down, you know, it's all you have left is family and a few friends. What about you, Ari? What would you?
Well,
I mean, you're so young.
That's something I think about. I mean, definitely you want to contribute to your family, but I think for just to better others is, I think people to think that I gave them something, a skill or a piece of passion or something, learn how to run a business. I think that for me, if I can perpetuate my knowledge onto others, I think is something I want to leave with.
So we're going to have a big tombstone for you, and for me, just a little one.
You guys are wonderful. Thank you both so much, Chef.
And a surprise guest, Ari, was here. See,
I love it. I love it. So glad.
Come to Chicago. We won't get deep dish pizza. We'll get something else.
Okay, good. All right.
And it's on Whitney Street.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.